I entered this trade up here at 110, 69.54. Stop loss is still sitting above the high of the day by one tick. Looking at the structure, I'm just a little impatient, so I probably will close this. I think this trade speaks more to me just being mentally blah. It's the end of the month, but I wanted to capture this because you can see there's so much power in just your ability to be patient and wait later in the day. Like, it could just work itself out. You know, be willing to let it come back against me, just kind of proving the point. Like, do I want to just sit here and let this thing take its time to come back? Do I want to lock in profit, which you absolutely should do, but not, we're just not in that momentum time where it's just breaking down, and that is a different type of discipline that you have to have in these markets. And I think there's a lot that can be said about that. We see the absorption. We see where bulls are trying to hold price, but they're not holding it to the point of shooting it back up. So I don't know. I think it's just a quick little whatever. But it's not that I don't have conviction on the trade as much as it's just like I'm done trading for the day. And just having that understanding of what it is to be done on the day and just move on to something else. Like, I feel like if I were to lock in profit right up here, it's going to tap me out and that's it. Even this little pullback, it's like I don't feel like dealing with that right now. I just wanted to get to my first TP so I can be done. And I think we all experience that, like trying to be patient. So it's just some thoughts in this trade. As much as I want to lock in profit, part of my discipline is being really focused on entering on a good trade and letting it work itself out. But when it's slow like this in the middle of the day, it's like, oh boy, whatever, just lock in and take whatever. So I do have this rule where typically I lock in half profit. So if we're up, $500, you lock in $250. This thing could easily come back against me, so you want to lock in something. But psychologically, knowing that your stop loss is way up there makes you feel better about the trade. Then the other thing is, the minute I start playing around with my stop loss and moving it, I'm more prone to actually close this out. It's regathering on 69.52, I think. So we'll see. I could bring my stop loss down to 69.53. I could even bring it down to 69.53 flat, or 69.53 and 3/4. But I know that the minute I move this down, I'm going to be like, oh, it's time to get out of this trade. So there just needs to be a level of patience and watch price action. We are building up bull delts, so there is a reason, I guess, if you will, to lock in and get ready to close. I am on 2 accounts, so it does make sense to lock in. I guess I'll
Order canceled.
lock in right there, just so you can't lose on the trade. But it's like, why take $100 when you're up 600? You know, there are all these psychological things that go on and make you rethink what you're doing, and you really don't want to do that in a trade. But I need to do this. This is the discipline that's required to be a trader. Like, trade, if you see a good trade, you see your trade, that you actually take the trade. I did see the trade. I did see the momentum shift. So it's like, this is part of that maturity. So who knows?
Order canceled.
You know, we'll see. 14 seconds. If we get down here and the body of the candle doesn't build out above 69.52, then I'll bring it down and lock in more profit. But we've got this melt up, and it looks like it wants to pop up. Look at that. And there it goes. We got the shift. Plenty of threat to the upside. I give a lot of credit to traders who can just sit and not do anything. But I do think, like, this level of, you know, respecting your trade and being willing to sit in it and give it its respect. I mean, you took the trade, you decided that you want to take it, so you owe it to yourself to maximize the trade. We do so much just to get here. Look at that. But it hasn't built out below this. You got a wick down here at 51. This candle has not broken 51 and a half yet. So, you know, do you close out down here? And then later on you're annoyed because it went back down to 69.30 and you closed out. You got new money longs right there. There's no slippage. I think this is the hard part of trading. Like, once you know how to trade, it's not so much about skill as much as it's about maturity. Just your willingness to sit and let structure work itself out. I do think there's something to say about your ability to calmly assess the situation and not be all emotional. I do think that I'm not being emotional. Maybe I'm just tired of trading. I didn't trade too much today anyway. Um, but it could just be it's the end of the month and, you know, just want to lock in and be done. So there's also that mental thinking of like, if I don't take this trade into a winning trade, should I even bother trading tomorrow? You know, every trade is independent of itself. So it's not like, oh, I'm going to take this amount of trades today. That's something that I have to work on too. Like every trade needs to have its own level of respect. Respect your levels, respect the trade, give it its the full possibility of reaching its destiny. And this trade deserves that. So I don't want to disrespect the hard work that I put in over years, but I guess I'm just kind of bored. And maybe there's a saving grace in that to be able to say that you're bored with the prospect of making money, which kind of sounds crazy, but all things have this ability. Bulls just keep absorbing here. You got this doji. So we'll see what happens here. Maybe I do take profit if we don't make another move down. My next stop would be 69.49, I think. Got to push through this 50, get underneath it, and then you're going to expect some upside. But she doesn't want to go. I kept my stop loss exactly where it needs to be. So there's a lesson in that. Like just being really sniper with not just your entries, but stop loss management, take profit management. There's so many different things that I need to be learning while in this trade, and being happy that I have the capacity, that the pace of this trade gives me the ability to think slower, more methodically, to really see what's happening, to watch the deltas, to see the absorption, to see the weight work itself out. Clearly you can see bears own this candle, bears own this, but bulls own this one. So, this is absorption right here. Bears need to put on the gas. They're not. You're going to run into support down here at 69.49. So see, what are we looking at? We're down here. You got these wicks down here, wick here, wick here. So my stop loss is where it needs to be. But it is what it is. I applaud traders who can sit and let a trade work out like for 30 minutes, an hour, 2 hours, a whole day. I definitely have to work on being patient. It's something that my wife keeps telling me, so I guess that's what this is, just practicing trading live. This isn't paper, so you need that capacity. I got new money shorts came in. Bulls are eating that up. Look at that. I'll lock in
Order cancel.
more profit there, just because you have to be mindful. Like, it doesn't make any sense to give back this whole move. 1 minute on the clock. It's 1:38, so bulls are stepping in. You got absorption there. Maybe I'll close this out. I don't want to move my stop loss because I am trying to get better at stop loss management. We've already wicked up to the body of the previous candle. You got the PLC here, so there isn't a lot of room for me to really move unless I just want to close the trade. 20 seconds on the clock. So maybe the short-term plan is to see if price can get down to that 69.49. If it wicks down there, maybe I'll take profit down there and close this trade out. Bulls are stepping in. Look at that. That wick matches this wick. You got zeros on the seller side, zeros on the seller side here. Barely bearish. Switch bullish.
Order cancelled.